Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. It is Monday, my least favorite day of the week, but I'm happy to be back here today. Hope all of you had a great weekend. I'm pretty excited. We've got we're going to play pickleball today, unscheduled. Well, I should say we scheduled it, but normally we don't play on Thursdays, but we had some people that can't make it, so we're going to get out there and enjoy the great weather that is bestowing us here in the Valley of the Sun. As the overseeding has started on the golf courses, and that just means all these places are going to want way too much money. So we'll shift our focus somewhere else. I'm going to move this big body of mine around today. I'm going to have lunch with my cousin today. I'm excited about that. I don't know if you remember, he was in the hospital with COVID not too long ago, but he's well on his way to recovery. Hope all of you are doing well on this Monday. We've got hedge funds getting hammered with margin calls over energy prices. Oil. I've been telling you, get ready. The whole transitory inflation thing is going to get whacked around again. Oil is skyrocketing again today. We've got gold and silver continuing to rally. The Dow is down over 400 points. So we got a lot of ground to cover today. But as always, I'm joined with my partner in crime, the guy that runs the Colorado office. Jason Walker is with us today. Jason, good morning. It's Monday, man. We're back in the saddle again.
Feels like it should be Friday already.
I know the feeling. I have it easy. I get into work early. There's nobody here, and I come in, you turn off the alarm. I get the coffee going. I get on my laptop and I start pulling up different articles and trying to get some semblance of a show together. And it's just, my quiet time. Unfortunately for Jason, when he gets into the office in the morning, a lot less quiet for you than for me, buddy.
Sometimes it's fine. It's just a busy place, and I'll roll with the punch. It's not a big deal.
There you go.
There's a lot to do.
You're our crash test dummy up there.
Well, I got help. I've got help.
That's all that matters. 800-951-0592. That is the website. allamericangold.com. And news today, Jason, Reuters was reporting it. Zero Hedge put it up. Because I love Zero Hedge is a great place because they don't do a ton of articles, but they do a great job of going to all these different places and pulling really important information out for everybody. I liken it to it's replaced. Back in the day, I thought Drudge always used to do a good job. Now they've gone totally left. But Zero Hedge does a great job of it. We're getting margin calls, pressures now. All of the things, whether it be chip shortages for automobiles to backups at the ports to skyrocketing energy prices, all of this stuff that they said was only going to last a month or two is now the latest on the ports now. They're now saying, listen, it's going to be 2023 until they recover. I don't even know how that works, but all of this getting stretched out, and now there's the largest commodity traders, which are usually hedge funds, are all getting margin calls as energy prices have skyrocketed. Today you'll see crude oil at the highest in like 7 or 8 years. Brent oil like $82, NYMEX here $78. A lot of that because these guys are actually suppressing the price of energy, Jason, and it's gone the complete other way. We have plants now in Europe that are shutting down. Germany, they actually still have, there's still coal-fired plants outside of China. And what most nations like to do is, hey, we'll use the energy of our choice first, which usually is the cheaper stuff, which would be in Europe, that'd be natural gas. Well, natural gas got really expensive. So the coal-fired plants started rocketing. Now in Europe, the coal plant's chasing a lot of coal.
Wow. Yeah. That's
so now all of a sudden they've got to shut those down. Just to give you an idea, Italy, their energy prices for people's homes rose 30%. Not year on year. Not month over month even. Since Friday, Jason, 30% higher. This is what's happening out in the world today. And it's going to, unfortunately, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And now we have, like I said, Reuters and Zero Hedge reporting hedge funds and the top commodity trading houses are all getting hit with margin calls because they were trying to short these markets, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, Joe, that's a lot of punch in the first 15 minutes of the show. There's a lot of expensive things going on in the world. It's such a good reason to buy gold and silver, Joe. Is this chaos that you're mapping out for everybody?
Hey, stick with us. We'll be right back on this Monday. 800-951-0592. We will be done with our metals plans this week. So Brittany's right now targeting Wednesday-ish to be done. Probably will be done by Wednesday, maybe Tuesday even. If you haven't been notified yet, you will be. Be patient. But we should be done with those. If you want to join the metals program, October starts the next quarter. So how that plan works, it's such a great plan. You pick the amount. The minimum is $100. There is no maximum. We have several people doing $5,000 a month. We have, I don't even know how many doing $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month. What you pick the amount. And all you do is you leave a card on file with us. You tell us the day of the month you want us to hit the card from the 1st to the 28th. Like I said, we can't, leap year in February gets us all screwed up. So you're the 1st through the 28th. And then once a quarter, we ship you your product. There are no fees in the plan. We don't charge, there's no setup fee. There's no cancellation fees. You can cancel at any time. You can change the amount at any time. We want you to be able to buy hard assets, because a lot of times we'll run specials, $20 gold piece, and we're talking about, well over $2,000. So a lot of people are like, I don't have $2,000. And so the metals plan is a great way to do it. The neat part about the plan is at the end of every quarter, we pool all the money together. And we're talking well into the six figures. The plan, it's crazy how big it's gotten. It's just a great plan. But everybody gets volume discounts. That's what kind of makes it nice. Because if you're buying, let's just say you're at the low end at $300. Well, you're probably going to get, maybe you're getting a roll of quarters and a couple pieces of silver, whether it's silver round or a silver eagle or whatever it may be. Well, you get what we're normally charging for those products. But because you're in the metals program, you get to save a few dollars because you're going to get volume discounts. It's a great program. If you want information, you go to our website and click on the metals icon. There's information there. You can't sign up for it online. You do have to call us for that. About the only thing we can't do online, at least not yet. Maybe in the future we'll get there. But if you want to call us and sign up for the plan, 800-951-0592. 0592. The cool thing about the plan, I guess, is it keeps you disciplined. You just keep adding at all the time. Where, Jason, a lot of people, when gold or silver pulls back, a lot of people they wait. Right? They wait. Oh, maybe it'll go down more than usually. Gold, by the time they keep thinking gold and silver is going to go down more, it goes the other way. On the metals plans, you catch a lot of these dips.
Exactly. And, it's something that the metals program seems to be really good for is if you're, you should have gold and silver for your savings, and you don't want to research it a lot. And, of course, obviously it's better to be informed and educated on this stuff, but Patriot Trading has been here to provide trustworthy business, so you don't have to think a lot. If you don't want to think about it a lot, the metals program is perfect for the guy that wants gold and silver and doesn't want to think about it, because we line up the best price for your metals, and every 3 months you pick up your allotted amount. And a lot of metals programs, they just have it directly taken out of their accounts. They don't have to think about it. They just get called or get it shipped, and they protect their wealth that way, Joe.
Yeah, exactly right. Especially a lot of our listeners, a lot of you guys, small business guys, and you don't have a 401k or something like that to invest in. Doing it with us with the metals plan, I mean, it's not tax deferred and all that stuff, but it's a great way over time. I mean, can you imagine how much metals you'll have 5 and 10 years from now if you're just, hey, I'm doing $300 a month and every quarter I'm getting it adds up. It really, really does. So it's a great plan. Go check it out if you want to sign up. October starts the new month. So October, November, December, and then we ship right after New Year's. And knowing Brittany, she'll probably start shipping right after Christmas. But either way, as an example, today's October the 4th. Brittany's telling me, hey, by the 6th, I'm going to have everybody out. Now, granted, we started shipping 10, 12 days ago. And if you want to pick up in Phoenix or Colorado, then you don't even pay a shipping fee. So
exactly.
It's even better yet. Now there really is truly no fees. So 800-951-0592.
And Joe, think about this. Think about how well the metals program people did who have been in there since 2015, 16, 17, 18. When they had that sort of soggy, lower-priced gold and silver. And then of course, in 2019, 2020, it started popping up. I mean, look how well they've done, these metals programs, because some of these people have been there years.
Crazy. Years and years and years on the metals program. People got silver at $10 and $12 in there. But nonetheless, that is going to be completed just to keep everybody in the know there. We talked the other day, and I've been making this analogy about our central banker and really the central bank in general, and how it's really not for us. It's just for millionaires and billionaires. It really, truly is. They care much more about Wall Street than they do you and I. I mean, if they actually cared about you and I, they would track real inflation, as an example. Right? They don't. They don't want that ever. But we were telling you about how the Massachusetts Federal Reserve and the Dallas Federal Reserve presidents got in trouble, as the world was alerted to the fact that these two guys, in Rosengren, who's the Boston Federal Reserve president, and Kaplan, who's the Dallas Federal Reserve president, were trading stocks with insider information based on the Fed meetings. This morning, and again, this was out in the world, but Zero Hedge is re-reporting this. Vice Chairman Richard Clarida. So this is the number 2 guy. So he wasn't a governor of a bank like the Boston Fed or the Dallas Fed. He was kind of look at like the vice president. So if Jay Powell had got struck by lightning and died, this guy would take over. Right? He's the next in command. Well, he's going to be the next guy to retire, Jason, because it was brought out that this guy traded out of millions of dollars on February 27th, 2020.
That was a good.
Just one day before Jay Powell came out and issued the emergency statement announcing that the central bank was going to come in and save the stock market. And here's how bad it got. According to reports, the vice chair sold up to $5 million while transferred. He was in the PIMCO bond fund, okay, which, first of all, these guys should have no exposure to, and it should be in some blind trust somewhere, and they shouldn't have access, obviously, because they have all the information. But he took it out of the PIMCO bond fund. And where did he put it? In the PIMCO Stocks Plus fund, knowing that the stock market was going to have a huge rally the very next day, Jason.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? It's good to have that insider information, isn't it, Joe? Yeah.
Isn't that, I mean, and again, you think, okay, right? Instead of, girls gone wild, right? It's bankers behaving badly, right? We see this movie over and over and over again. Right? I can't even. How many times have I said, why is Wells Fargo still a bank? Last week we did the story about how many felony convictions J.P. Morgan has. And now we find out, well, of course it makes sense. The most important watchdog, which is the Federal Reserve, well, they're acting just like the bankers are. They don't care. I'm going to enrich myself. I deserve it. Right? Look at me. I'm such a good guy. And this is the problem. This is why I think I go back to our founding fathers in the Constitution, Jason, when they were saying, listen, the money needs to be gold and silver. And if you actually, listen, I don't know that anyone can actually read the Federalist Papers. I mean, I've tried. I've actually tried like 4 times. Yeah, it can't be done. I mean, and I'm sure, I know there's at least 5 people in the world who probably actually have done it. But when you read the writings from a lot of, now, not Alexander Hamilton, throw him out, but the rest of them, they warn us about these bankers over and over and over and over again. And now, of course, they have absolute power. And, Jason, you and I speculated last week, hey, this next crash sure looks like the central bank is setting themselves up to be even more powerful, Jason.
Absolutely. I mean, when you talk about J.P. Morgan and their 5 felony convictions, why can't we just have, like, is it California? I can't remember which state it is. 3 strikes and you're out. Why can't we have that with the banks? J.P. Morgan, you're done. You've just lost all your banking privileges. You got your 3 felony charges. You're convicted. But nope, they can. How many more felony convictions will they go before somebody actually gets upset, Joe? And you're right. The banks are piling up tons and tons and tons and tons of cash. Tons of cash. And I was watching Robert Kiyosaki over the weekend, Joe, and I think it was Kitco was interviewing him, and he's mapping out that this is going to be a crash of all asset classes, everything. And he says gold, silver, and Bitcoin, it's going to go down in price. And so the lady's like, well, then does that mean you're going to have to sell your gold? He's like, why would I sell my gold? If everything is going to go down, what am I going to put my money into? He's like, it all depends on where you bought it and how you bought it. And he's like, look, what's going to be the first thing that rebounds off this enormous crash of all asset classes? And I'm going to be happy to be owning all of my gold. And he talked about his first piece of gold he bought in Vietnam in 1972. He's like, I still have that coin. I'm never going to get rid of it. And there you go, Joe. Piles of cash, because if you can control when it crashes, you can buy up everything really cheap on the rebound.
And that's just kind of exactly, we've been talking about this really for probably in earnest since 2018. Towards the end of 2018, we started to see all these abnormalities in the markets. And then, of course, 2019, when they had to stop the tapering, and remember the first tapering, and all of those things. And then we had that little market hiccup towards the end of 2019, and then the big rally back. And then, of course, COVID hits. We've had all this explosion of debt everywhere. And now all of a sudden we're starting to see, we used to, with MMT, that modern, what I call modern money theory, which was, debts don't matter and this doesn't matter, because they wanted to hide from the truth that they're actually creating the largest tax on consumers ever. Think about Italy, right? 30% over the weekend in their electric bills. That's coming every week. Like Jason said, there's no hiding from this. But when the crash happens and gold's at the top, that's when you want to sell some, right, and buy all the cheap assets. That's the best play of it all. 800-951-0592, and it's just fascinating to me. I wonder how many more there are at the central bank. I'd like to see Jay Powell's. I really would. I know he keeps his money at BlackRock. What has he been trading? How many more of these bankers are going to fall? And again, it's just another shot to the whatever credibility they pretend they have. But we know at least three of, let's face it, there's a total of, 14, 15 key players. The 12 central bank presidents, which right now we know 2, Boston and Dallas. Those guys are gone at the end of this week. Now the vice chair, Clarida, looks like he's next. How many more are there? Then we did this on Friday on the Half-Empty Cup of Joe. I wanted to bring it back. I was actually saving this for today for the Patriot Trading Group show. It's not like we get a say. None of us voted for Jay Powell. Heck, none of us voted for Rosengren or Kaplan, Claire. We don't get to choose any of these people.
It's a private corporation, Joe.
Yeah, they're appointed. Well, something very interesting has been happening with these quote-unquote appointments. We're getting a lot more liberal, a lot more fascist, a lot more communist type people. And you're like, okay, come on. You're exaggerating. Fascist and communist. No way. Oh, yeah. The latest being the Biden administration's pick for the comptroller of the currency. So they are in charge, really. The comptroller of the currency, they do a lot with deposits and bank balance. And this is a very high-profile job in our banking-led system. His pick was a Cornell Law professor. I'm going to try to not butcher her name. Suel Omarova. She comes from the Soviet Union and is now lives here in the United States. Like I said, not shockingly, right up, she's a professor at an Ivy League institution. Some of her more famous things talked about, I had to come to the United States to witness things like gender pay gaps. Yes, no, the Soviet Union, we didn't have gender pay gaps. Also said, I had to come to, in the Soviet Union, you got great maternity leave. Right? I had to come to the U.S. to find out you didn't. And of course, obviously, What you're telling me that women in the Soviet Union have it better than women here? Are you kidding me? But this is how people think. She is a huge supporter of the Green New Deal. And she wants to create a new government bureaucracy, the National Investment Authority, that would, among other things, coordinate long-term economic strategy for the United States. Kind of like, hey, I want to have a central bank for stocks and infrastructure and development. She wants this authority to set pay. That's right. The government will determine how much you get to make. She wants this authority to also oversee asset prices. In other words, hey, you know what? We'll determine what the cost for oil is and electricity, and we'll determine what the cost is for loaves of bread and things of that nature, right? Very much what is that? That communist style. The last one, which is my favorite one. Decide who gets money and who doesn't. In other words, oh, you're applying for a loan. Well, let's just take a look, right? Let's just see if you're quote-unquote worthy enough. She also had an article, you can look this up, the People's Ledger, where she proposes that the Federal Reserve take over all consumer bank deposits, effectively ending banking as we know it. She'd also like the U.S. to create a central bank digital currency like Venezuela and China are doing. This was the Biden. Listen, this woman's been nominated. This is who the Biden administration picked, Jason.
Yeah, well, this is what I would expect, actually, from as fast as things seem to be getting worse and worse, Joe, when it comes to the central bank and the government. And I don't really care if it was the Trump administration, Obama, the Bush. It just keeps sliding. And as it slides in a wrongward direction, you end up with this. And why do I get the feeling, Joe, this is just the beginning? There's going to be more of this coming.
Yeah, this is, but believe me, this is what I here's how I see it, and it seems so simple right now. I was hoping maybe after this next crash, there'd be a huge swell of pushback. You know, in the end the Fed talk. Remember, go back to Ron Paul. And it sure looks like that's not going to happen yet. Matter of fact, they're going to become even more powerful and become more authoritative. And I think it won't be until that point, Jason, that we start to rebel against. But, as an example, today, food stamps at 40 to 50 million. Well, they're saying 42 million, but that's an old number. So probably closer to 50 million people got a 30% increase. I thought it was only going to be 25, but now they're saying 30% increase in their monthly food stamp benefit. And I only bring that up because you're like, well, what is that? What does one have to do with the other? It's all about control. If you make people dependent upon the bankers and the government, they're more easily to fall in line. And that's exactly what we have happening here in the United States. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jaquin, Jason Walker here on this Monday. The Dow's down 450 right now. The Nasdaq's down 360. S&P down 72. Gold's up 7 at 1765. Crude oil's up over $2, over $78. That Brent crude's over $82. Natural gas prices, unleaded gas, the whole energy sector is the latest to be on a tear. You know, it seems like every day now I tell you about another item that is gone out of sight. And today we're going to focus in on chemicals. You know, and people don't realize, you know, all of the chemicals out there, a lot of it tied into energy prices, a lot of it petroleum based and things of that nature. Paint products rising up over 30%, chlorine and the like, Jason. All these chemicals and a lot of these plants were idled with the hurricane that hit Louisiana. But they said, get ready, plastics, maybe the next one, where you're going to see these huge increases in price. And there's just not enough to go around, Jason.
Yeah, the more basic the component or the commodity, the more it causes inflation and price gains all across the board. So, yeah, chemicals are in everything. I mean, different chemicals and different items. I mean, all you have to do is go through the average American house and just look into those cabinets, right, Joe? And there's everything you could think of under the sun.
Well, you know what? You still go into the store, and I'm amazed. Even still, you go down that cleaning aisle, it's still pretty desolate.
Yep.
It's still pretty desolate. I mean, you think about how long it's been. But now, again, not only is it desolate, the price of it is going to be skyrocketing. And of course, don't worry. They'll still tell you that it's just transitory inflation and nobody should worry. And don't worry about the comptroller of the currency. She's fine. You know, it'll be fine. But again, this is where we're headed. I've been telling you this digital currency is coming. How does it come? It comes with a crash, because that's going to be the solution to the problem. Right? Think about when they confiscated gold, the bankers. Right? Got enough of them, and give them credit. Listen, this country operated without a central bank for most of its existence until this iteration of the central bank. And how did they do it? Well, they used their money. They married into members of Congress. They got family members elected. They got friends elected. They met in secret. And then 20 years later, after they created a stock market frenzy, you know, the roaring 20s, which just was, by the way, just bankers behaving badly, really is what it was. Gave you the illusion of prosperity. But when it all crashed, you know, they called it the Great Depression. You always got to give it a scary name. The solution was, we got to take the gold away from you. Gold's the problem. Because, well, God, it's just a pain. I mean, someone's got to go in the ground and mine it before we can create any money. I mean, we just want to, you know, spend whatever we want. And this is going to be great, and this is going to be the solution. And it actually didn't work. It didn't work. Heck, we are going back into another recession or depression in the late 30s. We got lucky. And Jason will tell you luck had nothing to do with it. This was the plan. Right? Jason will tell you, I know that. We know that. World War II happened. And the quote-unquote win brought about Bretton Woods. It's the only reason it even kind of remotely had any credibility. We forced the rest of the world to have to use dollars. That's really what World War II was all about. Hey, you know, we emerged as the superpower. Everyone's got to use dollars. And they pretended this system worked. Well, fast forward now. We go trillions of dollars in debt every year. Debts are so big we can't even pay them. They're propping this all up, and they're acting as if everything's going to be great. And we know, right? All we do is get crash, bubble, crash, bubble, crash, bubble. And this is going to be the biggest crash of them all. And every time there's a crash, we lose some freedoms, right? We lose a little piece of ourselves, and sometimes even a bigger piece. Think about the last crash, right? And they bailed out the banks, and they're like, "Oh, we're never doing that again." Oh, no. We're going to create Dodd-Frank, which gave us the illusion that they fixed the problem. Really, all they did is, hey, next time this happens, because it's going to happen again, we're going to make sure the depositors pay. That's who's going to pay. That was their great fix, right? They screwed up. They're like, oh, man, boy, we screwed up. We don't want to be the hook on this. We'll make these guys be on the hook. That's what's going to happen. We're going to be on the hook. The crash is going to come. Most people are going to be dependent upon the government, and they're going to tell us, Jason, this digital dollar is going to be the salvation.
Agreed.
Jason,
Agreed.
Yeah, we're going to let Jason comment on that when we get back. Final segment, Patriot Radio News Hour. A final segment here, 800-951-0592. I just want to let everyone know gold's up $9, $10 now. Just a huge increase in price coming across the board. But before that happened, I do have 50 $5 liberties at $575 at 800-951-0592. I would just tell you this, prices are headed higher. Just got these. They just came across the board here. And I will tell you, supplies on the low end on old gold, very, very limited. Which means you're going to have to go up in quality. XFs, AUs, graded, and those are all running as well. But $55 libs today at $575 at 800-951-0592. But Jason, before the break, we were talking about how we're going to get this digital currency and using the crash and the crisis, because so many people are going to be so dependent upon the government. They'll have no other choice but to accept it.
I agree, Joe. And, one thing that seems like all the guys on the internet, the news shows, guys that think of gold and silver the same way we do, the underappreciative of the crash we had in 2020. That was a crash in 2020. And I think that might be the most important crash for people to be studying. Because no matter what you think of coronavirus, you don't shut down society without the permission of the bankers. And they shut down all of creation. And here in America, Joe, when Trump signed that emergency checkbook opened up for all those governors, what were we talking about 2019 and 2018? All these pensions in Michigan and in Illinois and in California,
New York, New Jersey.
That's all fixed now. Isn't it interesting how they used a corona crash, Joe, to suddenly fix all these states? And that was a flash crash, I guess you can call it, because it went down in 4 weeks. And I think it was a good blueprint for what may be coming, Joe. I mean, look how fast they fixed it. And they got to do what they wanted to do in almost a lightning fashion, to where nobody walks around talking about the 2020 crash. Nobody's talking about it, Joe, but look what happened.
Oh, it was huge, and you're so right. And when Jason says fixed, it just bought them a year or two, right? It kicked the can. They kicked the can and used COVID as the cover story to allow for these governments to have the resources to make good on those. But again, I think all of these things are going to crash all at once.
Yep.
Right?
Timing, Joe. Timing.
I
think they were losing control of it, and so they had to rebalance things. I don't know if it's globally, but definitely here in America, it looked like they just kind of rebalanced things to keep, because when you want to crash it, you don't want to just crash it on the liberal states. You want to crash it on all of them. And I think that's kind of what 2020 helped them out with.
And you bring up a great point. 800-951-0592. Again, gold's up, silver's up. Stocks are getting hit pretty hard here today as energy prices continue to roil over, and hedge funds are facing margin calls, and the supply shortage continues to ravage, and inflation is here. I don't care what they want to call it. It's going to be a really interesting end of 2021 and heading into 2022. And hey, let's not forget, we still got the debt ceiling. That's still not done.